Essentially, once a year, I'm hoping for one great hook to come to mind, some sort of great idea. Just as with elevator pitch, I heard something on the news that sparked an idea. If you try to think of an idea, you think, well, what could I do next? They just don't come. You kind of have to wait for them to happen. I'm Linwood Barclay, author of Elevator Pitch. The elevator pitch for elevator pitch is, because we know that phrase, that's kind of a common phrase for used in entertainment or other things, pitching your idea as quickly as you can while you're going up the elevator with some producer. But the elevator pitch for elevator pitch is more literal. It's about a different kind of serial killer who is sabotaging elevators throughout Manhattan. It's a bit like that Seinfeld episode where Kramer was doing a coffee table book on coffee tables. But elevator pitch sets out to kind of do for elevators what Psycho did for showers, to make you look at something that maybe you use every day, but you'll start looking at it a little bit differently. The idea for it came from an item on the Toronto News that said that the city did not have enough elevator inspectors, which is not surprising given the sort of high-rise condo boom that the city has had over the last decade. And the idea just came to me, what if you had someone who was set out deliberately for whatever reason to sabotage those devices? I think pacing is one of the most important things in writing a thriller. When you get to the end of every chapter, you can offer some sort of a small twist or something that happens that makes you feel you just have to go on to the next one. Thrillers have to have a kind of sensible momentum there. They're this big boulder rolling down a hill, and the further it gets, the faster it starts to go. And I'm kind of a kid, I'm sort of a child of the 60s who grew up watching television. And to me, chapter breaks I've always thought of them like they were commercial breaks. When I was a kid and I'd watch some show, the first act would always end 15 minutes in, and it would end with some kind of a mini cliffhanger that you just had to be there after the commercials when you came back. And chapters are like that. You have to end the chapter in such a way that it's moving the action forward, that it presents some sort of a twist or a little surprise, so that you just have to go on to the next one. There are a lot of ways to define success as an author. One of them, of course, is sales, and then there's what are the reviews like, and how much is your work appreciated, who's reading it. And another way is just how happy are you yourself, how fulfilling is it to do the work that you are doing. And I often have kind of a joke that I ask other writers. I often will ask them, and I've asked this question of some of the most successful writers on the planet. I'd say, are you happy? And I'm surprised how many of them, despite immense success, say no, which is kind of amusing, because you think if this writer can't be happy, no writer can be happy. Because we're all trying to write that perfect book, and until we do, we're probably never really going to be satisfied. If you're going to be a writer, you're reading a lot of different things, and you've always got a book on the go. I don't ever even go to the mall when I'm going with my spouse without taking a book. I always have a book with me because it's the best way to spend time when you have to kill time. But I think the other thing I would say is just get something down. I think a lot of people get frozen. It's like standing at the edge of a really cold pool. You don't want to jump in. It's just, it's so hard to jump in. But sometimes, if you just get something on that screen, I used to say if you get it down, get something on paper, but we're past that. But if you could just get something on the screen, you can always fix it later. Just get something down there, start writing, because if you have something there, you have something that you can work with and something you can play with, something you can edit. But if there's nothing there at all, you can't get anything done. So just get something started, and don't worry about that it's got to be perfect before you begin, or that you have to have your idea completely and totally fully formed before you start. Just start writing it.